Well, we all know there's some players in the NFL that are slightly overrated. And this list is dedicated to that term overrated. So let's get this party started.
Let's talk football.
Alrighty, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the All Round Sports Podcast. Sports are everything on this channel. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we are going over a top 10 list in no particular order, as we are going over the top 10 most overrated players in the NFL right now. Now, to note, these are players that that I believe are slightly overrated in their category of where people are talking about them. It could be like in the top 10 quarterback conversation. It could be in the tight end conversation. It could be a corner. It could be playoffs. It could be anything. It's nothing I take away from any of these guys, but the expectation is overrated in their specific categories. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please make sure to do a big favor and smash the button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. For now, let's get into the top 10 players that are highly overrated. First up is Brandon Ayuk. Now, Ayuk only had one good year in San Francisco, which was the year that they went on the Super Bowl run. But when he got his payday with the team, he was never the same guy. It was barely on the field as of last year. And as a cost of that, Debo Samuel, the best receiver on the team, did get traded away. Only because Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey were both hurt. Because I look at Brandon Ayuk, he is not that same guy that was during that Super Bowl season. And I'm looking at the injury. That is not it. He's probably not going to be the same player ever again. Because Brandon Ayuk, let's state the facts. He got dramatically overpaid, and he's now on a team that appears to be in a rebuild mode with no means of contending for a Super Bowl anytime soon. So Brandon Ayuk is the first of 10 overrated players. At number 9, pretty obvious one here, Dak Prescott. Prescott, he's a good dude. He has a good personality. But when it comes to the playoffs, this man just does not live up to the expectations.
Surprise! That's an incredible. I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise.
This guy, primarily by Cowboy fans, are highlighted as a Super Bowl contender in that state. But I just do not trust Dak Prescott in the big games because Prescott can have good numbers in the regular season, but he just can't get the team to the NFC Championship game in the postseason. That's what is needed in Dallas. They've not had a Super Bowl in who knows how long, and the Cowboys are in a world of hurt. So that's why Dak Prescott is the second most overrated player. Next up is Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is a tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, but ever since getting drafted, he has not been that productive.
Buckle up, guys. This is going to take a while.
All right, never mind. That was impressive.
And Kyle Pitts pretty much is not even the number one receiver on their team. That belongs to Drake London, and also along with Ray McCloud, for former 49er. But Kyle Pitts is just not that type of tight end in the league. He's not like a George Kittle. He's not like a Travis Kelce. Kyle Pitts is just not built for the NFL. He can't produce. Even with the quarterback that they needed in there, he still could not put up numbers. So either Kyle Pitts is going to wind up getting traded at some point, or he's going to be cut. Because Kyle Pitts is just not that guy in Atlanta, which is why I have him as the 8th overall overrated player. Next up is Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb of the Miami Dolphins. You just can't rely on this man to stay healthy. He just absolutely cannot stay healthy. This man He's a really good player when he's on the field, but when he's injured, that is not even a fraction of that. He was picked up off of waivers from in a trade from the Broncos to the Dolphins. I just, I for something about Bradley Chubb. I like the guy, but it's just he can't perform that well. He just whenever a game comes up, he just cannot be that differentiating factor like Aaron Donald was to the Los Angeles Rams. This guy, I just don't think is a cutout player in the league. And Bradley Chubb, I believe, is going to get released here sooner rather than later. That's why I have Bradley Chubb on this list. Next up is Jair Alexander. Alexander, this man is just he's a corner for the Packers, but he just can't catch a break. He's a really good corner when he's on the field, but when he just cannot be relied upon to stay healthy. He only had one pick six in his career, and that was last year. He's been a good lockdown corner, but he just isn't that type of dude. He's not like a Richard Sherman for the Seattle Seahawks back in the Legion of Boom. He's not like a Tyrann Mathieu for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's not that dude. Jair Alexander is just a man that cannot stay healthy, and a guy that's right now in the top corner conversation. I don't think he deserves to be in the conversation because he has so many injuries that keep this guy back. So I don't think that Jair Alexander is that good of a player, which is why I have him at number 6. Next up is Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year in that year, which I believe could have been argued for another player, but I'll get to that later. But this dude just does not perform well. He's playing against the Bills and other teams around the division. He just cannot lock down those type of guys. He can't lock down Khalil Shakir. He can't lock down Keon Coleman. Can't lock down any of the other guys, including Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
The party's over. Hope you had a blast.
This guy was highly rated as a top corner in the league entering the draft. He's barely even a fraction of that. So that's why I have Sauce Gardner on this list. Next up is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, this is obviously a man that can never get past Seattle when it comes to opportunity.
Alright, Dad, get him! Go get him! Okay, now you got him right. Oh, man, they're really I'm loving this. Darny darn!
Because they've lost 7 straight games against Seattle. Only had one to two wins against the Seattle Seahawks. And that was when Russell Wilson was still there. But with Kyler Murray, this man has just been so highly overrated since the beginning. Because this man, he's had offensive guys around him. He just cannot get this team to the playoffs. He had a talented team around him last year. Couldn't get it to the playoffs. Because they have the offense. And now you have the defense. You have to win a playoff game to get yourself out of this overrated player conversation. You have to at least win a playoff game. No excuses this time. You have Josh Sweat. You got your offensive roster with the most highly paid tight end in the league, Trey McBride, which deserved that money, by the way. This guy, Kyler Murray, just has to win a playoff game. We know the time that he went against the Rams when the Rams would go on to win the Super Bowl, that they got absolutely pounded. They got pummeled. If they cannot allow that to happen again, because if they do, Kyler Murray could be on his way out the door sooner rather than later. Which is why I have Kyler Murray in this conversation. Next up is Tua Tagovailoa, the man that can never play well in the cold. This guy, Tua, is just so overrated because he is a good player. He's a very active quarterback, but he just cannot get to the playoff, win the playoff game for your team. Because Tua, he is a good quarterback. He just cannot play in the cold. He is 0 and 12 in 40 degrees or lower games. He has weapons around him like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Nick Westbrook-Akine, and you still could not even get a playoff victory. And the Bills have been you've been the Bills punching bag for years.
This boy's going into no, please
Buffalo superior, Dolphins inferior.
You've been the Bills punching bag because the Bills they don't threaten you. They look at the Dolphins and say this team ain't a threat when they play in our house because we can beat them in the cold. Because that is what Tua is. He cannot play in the cold. And unless he changes that, that's why he's going to stay in this conversation for now. Next up is wide receiver George Pickens. George Pickens, this man, I believe he's the worst number one receiver in the NFL. Now, DK Metcalf is going to help change that a little bit. But when I look at George Pickens, this is a man that's looking like Antonio Brown. This man has potential, but he just cannot keep his mouth shut. We all know that fight that happened at the end of the game against Cleveland. This guy just is a chirper. He's a diva. This is what the guy is. He's just not a number one receiver on a team. George Pickens is he's basically like a Stephon Diggs and a Richard Sherman version of a wide receiver. He just keeps on chirping, and doesn't have a playoff win to show for it, which is why George Pickens is on this list. And the last player on this list is obviously Brock Purdy. Purdy. This man is just not a top 10 quarterback. The main reason I look at him as an overrated player is he's not a top 10 quarterback. People always want to put him in the top 10 conversation. What has this man done without his weapons? Oh yeah, lost 3 straight games in the route to the Super Bowl. That's what. When the man doesn't have 5 all-pro players, he crumbles under the pressure. This is what the man does. Look at the game last year against the Rams. Look at those 2 games. Had chances, couldn't improvise on any of them. In one of those games, you couldn't even put up a single touchdown.
Next floor, bottom of the food chain. Ding.
You couldn't even post up a single touchdown against your hated rival that you have pounded since arriving in the league. Brock Purdy. I cannot stand this man being in the top 10 conversation. I respect the dude. I said when he went to the Super Bowl and lost the game, he did not lose that game. I said that. But when we put this man in the top 10 conversation, what has he done without his weapons? Let me go over a list here. Hold on. Let me find it really quick because I want to make a bold point. Let me go over a fraction of a list for you. I'm not taking Brock Purdy ahead of Mahomes. I ain't taking him ahead of Josh Allen. I ain't taking him ahead of Lamar. I ain't taking him ahead of Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, Matthew Stafford, C.J. Stroud. I ain't even putting him ahead other guys in that list like a Kyler Murray. That's being somewhat reasonable. I mean, I can go on about this list. I can put Trevor Lawrence in there. I can put Baker Mayfield in there because he's won games without his weapons in Tampa Bay. I can look at a lot of different guys. I can go on this list. I can talk about this for an hour. Jordan Love almost beat them in the playoffs in that playoff that they went to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff, if they would have kept running that ball, the 49ers lose that game, Lions go on to be Super Bowl champions. That is what I'm thinking in my mind. That is what I've said, and I'm going to continue to say it. Brock Purdy is not a top 10 quarterback. He's easily like top 12 when his weapons are healthy. But he drops down all the way to the top 15 when his roster is not there. And now you have Trent Williams possibly contemplating a retirement.
What?
If he retires, Purdy is going to get destroyed. That is what's going to happen. Brock Purdy, I am sick and tired of this man being in the top 10 conversation. I am sick of it because I'm not taking any shot at the man. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate him because he's doing something really good for his pick, for the Mr. Irrelevant pick at pick 262. All I'm saying is, what have you done when your weapons aren't there? We see other quarterbacks perform on their roster without 5 all-pro players and without an offensive mind like Kyle Shanahan is, even though he's a choker supreme when it comes to Super Bowls, because Shanahan coach is scared. Brock Purdy has been on the receiving end of the coach that is scared when he plays against other players. This Purdy does not deserve to be in the top 10 conversation. Top 12 if he has his weapons. Top 15 if he doesn't have his weapons. That's Brock Purdy. That's why I'm his most overrated player in the league. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Who do you guys think is the most some of the most overrated players in the NFL? Let me know in the comments what you guys think down below. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to do me a favor and smash the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.